As the public health emergency of most concern this year, the coronavirus has been rapidly spreading since its first reported outbreak in China. In the interconnected world of today, the epidemic has transformed into a worldwide pandemic rapidly, giving little time for municipalities to prepare a public health response to halt the spread of the illness. Over the past several months, the United States has become the epicenter, passing the grim milestone of over 133,000 deaths. When we take a closer look into New York City, one of the worst-hit areas in the United States, the staggering rate of infection eclipses that of other cities around the world. Many blame the city density for the scale of the crisis as a big enemy, while purchasing a suburban home seems to be a plausible choice, as slogans of "Escape the City" by real estate agents are widespread. The governor, Andrew Cuomo, posted a tweet blaming the destructive population density level as the primary cause of the problem. Connecting the dots between population density and viral transmission seems to be simple logic. However, are we misguided in blaming density and overlooking the importance of other factors? As the only American megacity with a population of 8.6 million people, New York City is not the most crowded city on the planet. Hong Kong, one of the most densely populated cities in the world, suffered a single-digit number of deaths until its reopening. Other cities in South Korea, Singapore, and Taiwan, all relatively dense and geographically closer to China, also managed to flatten the curve. If density isn't the key determinant behind the difference in severity of COVID-19 cases between cities, what about within the city itself? Not every part of New York City is equally dense. Some parts are just as sparsely populated as the low-density cities in the United States. We are curious to find out if the lower-density parts of New York have lower infection rates. One of the criteria for measuring a city's density is the built FAR, or floor area ratio. The higher the FAR, the denser an area is. When looking at the density for New York City, a built FAR map looks like this. We then overlaid the case rate data on top. Here, the bigger the circle, the more infections per 100,000 people. At a glance, there is no clear indication that COVID-19 infections are related to higher density. In fact, the lower density areas have comparatively higher infection rates. Taking a closer look at the neighborhood level, these two neighborhoods have similar COVID-19 case rates, but Chelsea has an FAR of 7.36, while the FAR of Murray Hill is only 0.63. Since COVID-19 is known to spread through respiratory droplets, we looked at another component, population density. Surprisingly, when the underlying map is changed to population density, there is still no clear correlation between the two. Looking again at the two neighborhoods we just compared, Chelsea has a population density of 37,307 people per square mile, which is almost twice the density of Murray Hill. When taking a closer look at the other characteristics of these two neighborhoods, we found that the income per capita in Chelsea was significantly higher than that of Murray Hill. And this seems to be the case citywide. The higher the income level, the lower the case rate. We also analyzed education level. When mapping out the percentage of people with a bachelor's degree or higher, the results indicate that the higher the percentage, the lower the case rate. Our linear regression analysis validates these initial observations. Another way of measuring COVID-19 severity is by death rate. When mapping the death rate in New York City, some correlating factors were the percentage of people in poverty, the percentage of people without health insurance, and the number of healthcare facilities in each neighborhood. Again, we conducted linear regression to confirm these observations. A growing number of scholars and reporters have come to their senses and are calling on people not to make urban density the scapegoat for New York's COVID-19 catastrophe. The danger of blaming the COVID-19 outbreak on urban density is that it undoubtedly masks the real causes of the pandemic. Scientists looked at the number of zoonotic diseases in the last few decades, and the number has been increasing drastically. A zoonotic disease is when a pathogen jumps from an animal to a human. Examples of such diseases include West Nile virus, Ebola, and COVID-19. The zoonotic outbreaks are increasing because humans have expanded their cities, encroaching on more and more land that once belonged to natural habitat. If we continue to develop our cities in a low-density, sprawling manner, the consequences are unthinkable. The pandemic should not divert our attention from compact urban development, nor should it change the belief that dense concentrations of people are necessary for a flourishing city. So what are some of the things we can do to avoid such a catastrophe when the next pandemic comes around? For one, political leaders need to act fast and in a more responsible way. As widely acknowledged, even by politicians themselves, municipal policies implemented to fight the pandemic were largely flawed.
It was one of the great federal blunders in history, cost thousands of lives in New York and billions of dollars.
From a healthcare perspective, a robust healthcare system is necessary for the well-being of society. This includes high-coverage Medicare and the ability to conduct intensive testing in the case of a contagious viral outbreak. Social behaviors have proven to be critical in flattening the curve for the coronavirus. Cities like Seoul, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Singapore have demonstrated how embracing good hygiene habits and practicing social distancing can curb the virus in the densely populated cities. The complexity and rapidly changing situation revolving around COVID-19 means that it would be a mistake to attribute the cause to any one factor alone. While criticizing the errors of decision makers is easy, it's important to remember that you can make all the difference in this pandemic with your choices.